Welcome back to Girl Let's Talk podcast. It's been a minute, right?
Yes.
Man, we're excited. We really are excited to be back here on this couch. So much has happened.
It's needed.
I mean, it's just pull up a chair. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. I'm Marci Lynn Jackson. I got my girl Tish here.
Hey, everybody.
And Rachel.
So glad to be back.
And April. We are so excited. I mean, like, seriously, it's not a cliche to say that. We really are excited. We missed.
I missed y'all.
We
Yeah,
missed
I missed
April.
her.
Remember,
Yeah.
April wasn't with us the last couple of
I
shows.
know, girl.
I know. Thank you.
Hey, girl.
She was somewhere Wu-Tanging.
Yeah.
Or nuck if you're bucking. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
She caking.
Well,
We
you're
used to
not
do
feeling
it.
good.
She just wasn't feeling good.
Listen, we talked about the holidays, but here it is. We are in the new year,
Yes.
well off into the first quarter.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we kicked off the new year with January 7th, my
Soul therapy intensive.
Soul Therapy Intensive Conference, my conference.
Yes.
I don't know, it was, we talked about it the last time. We talked about maybe what it will be like, but anticipation of a thing is like huge. But when I tell you it exceeded my expectations of what God would do, it's a new era in my life. It is a new era. I think 2022 was saying goodbye to an old era. And,
Yes.
I know for the girls, the podcast was on Soul Therapy Intensive Conference.
Yes.
We came on. And I mean, my mouth was hung open of the transparency that we had. I think we have gone off into some new era, like
Yeah.
of really understanding who we are and becoming okay with ourselves. Like, would you say that?
Yes.
So
will.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
So okay.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, you
So
really don't all, we say that. We say be okay in your skin, but honestly, are we really? And I think Soul Therapy Intensive Conference with the Girls Let's Talk podcast on there, the theme was God and therapy when church is not enough. And
So good.
Dr. Felicia Ford was on. It was an amazing adventure, and I'm gonna call that. It was that hour, but it was an hour, but it was so intense to hear the girls. Like, I sit on this couch with them. We have been doing this for a minute now. You guys have joined us. I know you've missed us on Mondays, but
y'all.
we shared some things with each other on that podcast that Dr. Felicia Ford walked us into, and we got questions from the audience. Like, what would you say, April? How was that for you? Because you shocked us on the platform. You opened up.
It was amazing. And from that conference, I have actually started a journey to to get to know me better and to do those things that I feel will allow me to be my authentic self, for me to
Yes.
just be April and who I am and not be ashamed of that and not cower, not hide to suit other people, because I've learned since then that, I acquiesce to a lot of other people. So for me, it was a life-changing experience that I'm grateful to have been in the room, and I'm grateful to be on this journey now where I am, because I'm getting to know me and I'm getting to walk in who I am and walk unapologetically about it.
What does that look like? I know, right? What does that look like? Like, what on that platform sparked that? Like, what sparked
So-
it? Looking at other people, like, what was it?
So for me, I think, so during the conference, during our session when we were on the panel, I typically do not talk a lot about my journey and what I've been through and how mental illness has, kind of shaped my life. And it has. And for me to express, what I went through, my divorce and my breakdown, that was a lot for me. And so in that, also listening to the mind mapping and how we think and the things that we say to ourselves, how much they shape us, how much it shapes how we walk in this world, how we walk through life, how we walk, how we engage in our relationships. That was that was it for me. That
You
was
saw
just-
yourself in it.
I
that you
saw
were
myself
not.
in that because I felt that I knew that I wasn't really, the things that I was saying to myself, it's not even the things nothing that God says about me. Nothing that God says about me. And so on that day, I said, I can't do this any longer. You know, I have to walk differently. I have to think differently about myself. And for me, it was life changing.
Absolutely.
Wow.
What about you, Rachel?
That was good. Oh, yeah. So, soul therapy, man, you know, when I walked in there, I had already kind of started my journey, you know, a couple of years ago. But then when you really start to talk about it, it's almost like you find yourself back in it again and you start reliving it. And I just remember just being there and God said, when you leave here, you won't be the same. That's all I kept remembering him saying. And my sister here took me down. I didn't, you don't even know that you even carrying that stuff.
Yeah.
But I felt like I left everything there that I thought I had released, that bondage, that, you know, the things that was still, you know, I talked about scars that I still have. Actually, I talked about that on the podcast with you, that when I look in the mirror, like I'm still carrying those scars, but the pain is truly gone. Like it's not weighing me down anymore.
There's a book called Your Body Keeps. Is it a book where
is
your
it?
body keeps score?
I haven't heard about
Y'all haven't
that.
heard of that? It's where your body, it says your body keeps score of like trauma or things that have
Yes.
happened to you.
Okay.
And that's what you're describing.
Yes.
I mean, it would get incorporated into your cells. I do remember us
It's
having
something
a
like that.
conversation.
Yeah.
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 And that's what that's sounding like you're saying,
Yeah.
where you thought you let things go.
And I thought I did, you know, forgiveness. I had truly done that, or at least I felt like I had. But then it was like sitting on that stage and I was listening to the questions, like I found myself right back at square one, you know, and I was just like, man, you truly haven't moved on, but I have now. Like I felt those chains being broken. I felt the release. I felt my power, owning my power again. I just feel light,
Free.
free. That's what it is.
Free.
Happy. You know, I know I've shared on the podcast before that I was happy, like I'm in a good place.
Right.
But like, it's just, it feels different. Like when I wake up, I don't know, I can't even describe it.
You know what
But
that's like?
it was an experience.
That's like when you say that, it's like, okay, so you know when if you've been like playing a game before, I'm gonna liken it to a game because I don't want to trigger anybody. But if you liken it to a game and let's say dodgeball, and so you clench yourself. If you get hit, now you're gonna brace yourself every time that the ball comes because you don't want to get hit again. And so it's like you may have like let those things go, but you're still in that tense state.
Right.
That's what
You're
that sounds
absolutely
like.
right. You're right.
So now it's like, oh, I'm not tense anymore. I'm just, it didn't kill you. And so because you didn't die, you know, there's no need to be tense. And if anything were to ever come around like that again, you deal with it different. So still no need to be tense.
Right.
Right.
Why not just enjoy life?
Right.
Yeah. Tish.
For me, the mind mapping was the conference was more confirmation for me. And with the mind mapping, what I have been doing is I have been reading a book by Joyce Meyer called Battlefield of the Mind.
Mine.
And I've been dealing with,
Oldie but goodie.
yeah. So that particular book for me is dog-eared, flagged, highlighted, crumpled up.
Stay in rotation.
Staying in rotation, right? So the other thing for me is there's a book by James Allen called As a Man Thinketh. That's another one that's in rotation. That's even less than 100 pages. So I try and read that one. I mean, you can probably read that one once you get into it. You can probably read it in an hour, to be honest with you. So for me, the mind mapping was confirmation because I have been trying to do a lot of internal work with dealing with anxiety. For me, I don't know whether it's menopausal, whether it's just the time that I am in my life where I'm getting to the part where I'm in the middle. I'm in between two generations. I'm in between raising kids that are adults that don't need me physically, but they need me mentally. They need me emotionally. And then I'm in between a set of aging parents and in-law parents. And so you're wondering, you know, as they age, you know, what does that look like?
It's a fear.
That's a fear for me. It's a concern, you know. So you feel like you're protected, you know, with your parents, but you feel like you got to protect them now.
Yeah.
And then my children, I feel like I got to protect them. So there's anxiety that flows from that. You're
It's
right.
being
You're
pulled.
being pulled. So there's anxiety, and then there's the business that's on top of that, that's wanting to be who I am called to be and purpose to be. T.D. Jakes said something a couple of Sundays ago. He said, you know, I am a pastor. It's what I was called to do, but it's not who I am. So it's also finding out who you are. I am
That's
a dentist,
right.
but that's what I do.
Right.
It's not who I am. It's not the sum total of who I am. So, and just feeling that angst, just being in the middle, just trying to figure out, you know, can I do these things that I want to do before I leave this earth?
That's right.
How did the mind mapping
The
help
mind
you
mapping
navigate
helped
through
it
that?
because she showed me, what April did was April showed me like a way to put things on a board and make them not so big, but make them small and make them attainable. Yeah, bite-sized pieces. So it was just confirmation for me, to be honest. And then the praise and worship was off the chain. It was
The
good.
praise and worship was
really good.
everything.
It really was.
That set the foundation right there.
Yeah, it was really good.
That was good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that again.
I am
Yeah.
too. I am too.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I attended soul therapy. I've said that before. And, you know, for me, soul therapy was I'm going to do it anyway thing. I'm going to move forward regardless of where I am. But in that restoration, so I asked God, you know, how am I to lead this?
Right.
You know, and he says, with your life. Our lives are our story. And our story is what is the depiction of how we are to govern ourselves. So if it's like a workbook, and so you lay it out before it's for a minister, I would definitely say, you know, your life becomes a workbook. That's why they talk about, you know, from a ministerial standpoint, how you lead your life, how you govern your life. Like when Jesus pulled the disciples to him and started training him, he got working people. All of them worked.
Right.
And he wanted that because he wanted them to have a discipline or understand what putting your hand to something would look like and seeing it through. You know, and you know, when he was calling them, the majority of them he called and he said, come follow me. But then one of them, was it Peter? He said, let's go back out and fish. And Peter was like, well, I'd already done it, you know, and I didn't catch anything. It just wasn't a good, outing. And he says, go back out and cast your nets, cast them again. And I believe that was him showing him something that, yeah, I have your hands, you know this profession like the back of your hands, but I can teach you to do more with it.
Right.
I can stretch you. And it won't be by what you know or what you already came to the table with. It will be by your faith with what you know.
Right.
So go back out here with your nets, put them back out. And he ended up coming back with a harvest that almost sunk the boat.
Right.
He had way more than what he thought. That was a nevertheless. And I think that's what soul therapy was for me. A nevertheless, like at your word, Lord, I'll go. You know.
I've been reading a lot about that scripture. That scripture has been, for whatever reason, T.D. Jakes has been settled on that. Just the things that I've been like reading and listening to and YouTube, that scripture, that story keeps coming back up. Peter on the water. And another point I want to make to you is that Peter was blessed because of his obedience. And because of your obedience, there was a lot of stuff, a lot of things that stemmed out of that conference.
Yes,
a lot of people were helped, a lot of people were affected.
Yes.
And I look forward to the next one.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We're
to the next one.
a few weeks away, April 1st.
Yeah, April 1st.
And you know, some people I know, they probably say, well, what would be the need for it? But I believe the need for it is because it's a working out. You know, it's a working out. Life is an evolution. And we take it in doses.
Yeah.
So we do it year by year. Or quarter by, some companies quarter.
Yeah.
Or a month.
Yeah.
You know, year in, you look at what you've done. And so soul therapy is that checkpoint.
Yeah, your benchmarks. It helps you reach those benchmarks. Yeah.
You got to keep going back to the doctor.
You gotta go back.
Yeah.
Follow-up visit.
Yeah, you got to take your follow-up visits.
It is a follow-up.
You ain't healed yet.
Okay. And if you are, I need you to maintain it.
That's right.
And then not only your maintenance, I need you to evolve it. Right. I love that.
Well, I got something I want to share.
What you sharing?
So
girl?
my life has changed. So I have stepped out of the boat.
All right.
I have done some things. I actually had a speaking engagement in Atlanta.
That was
And
good.
you ladies, when Marci, you weren't able to go.
I was
We
on
was on FaceTime.
I was on FaceTime.
I know you were on FaceTime.
Yeah, from the start to finish, I was there.
Uh-huh.
I sat right there with my and
You
looked and
did.
listened. Yeah,
You did. I saw the video of you sitting right there. She took a video with you on FaceTime.
I did. I wanted to be there to support.
But that was fun. I did. I got to step out and I got to do something that I've been wanting to do. I want to have some more speaking engagements, try and reduce my time in clinical dentistry a little bit, try and step out. And like I said, use those gifts that I have that are stored up. I just, my motto is to die depleted, die with everything that you have on the inside out of you. I think that's super duper important. But
It is.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know that's something you've been
Congratulations,
wanting to do.
yes.
Thank you.
And that is a good thing, that obedience. I saw on FaceTime how they received you, and they received you well.
That was fun, y'all.
Dr. Fatima, the entertainer, but I know you wondered how would that translate, over in person, and I thought it, from what I saw, I wasn't physically in the room, but what I saw, it looked like they did receive you well.
I haven't watched
They was like,
it yet.
oh my God.
But I haven't watched it.
Yes.
I still haven't watched it back.
It's so hard to watch yourself.
I can't watch it.
It is. Sister, how you been able to balance, soul therapy, work, and school? You got a lot going on.
I do have a lot going on, by the grace of God.
Yes.
I have had to truly prioritize.
Yeah.
And it's been sad because I haven't been able to do everything.
That's so hard.
It's sad.
But tell us what that looks like, because I know you have a calendar. Remember we talked about the
She
calendar?
sure do.
I
She
have a
keep
real
telling
straight up don't play calendar.
Yeah.
That the first one got destroyed, and the second one I had to recreate. And our coach was like, this isn't discipline. And I literally had to recreate the calendar, and I live by it now.
Yeah.
And there are things I have to say no. There is no spontaneity now. Spontaneity is in the times that I deem for me to have free time. Then I can be spontaneous in that free time. But if free time is not on that calendar, then I don't have it. Yeah. And I'm still working through it, because discipline isn't something that came natural. There are people that it comes natural. You are a disciplined person, but I have to work at that. And so what it looks like, I'm not necessarily sad anymore, but I do. Well, I'm gonna take that lie back. There are times where I'm like, I would rather be here than there. It's like FOMO, like, they
Missing
partying, they doing
Yeah.
this. And here's the thing, go on and invite me now. Let me tell you no.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't
That's
not
right.
invite me.
That's right.
You gonna hurt my feelings if you don't invite me.
Yeah.
Why you ain't invite me?
I want you to don't say, sister, we going over here and I know you can't come. No.
Ask me.
I want you to
Ask me.
invite me.
And let me tell you now.
Let me tell you no.
Yes.
And the things that are like the most important to you, and please, as friends, be, discern, like, what is okay, so now Marci don't have to meet, but I'm gonna invite her. But what's the most important? Tell me.
Right. Don't let me find out.
Don't let me see y'all on social media and out.
Oh.
Now that will make me roll my eyes at you. Hold up. I don't have time to pull up.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part about it is I don't. I just have to click out, because I go on social media to take a mental break. Or we still run our businesses, right? But like somebody said, I just saw you post 52 minutes ago. What was that? You didn't even reply to me, honey. Instagram lets you
Schedule.
That was probably scheduled 7 days ago.
Yes.
So don't look at social media and say I'm on there, 'cause I'm not right now.
That's right.
But like, invite me. But the way balance is looking, like, I gotta prioritize my mind. So I'm really, I need, in order to say yes to God, you gotta spend more time with Him. The anointing comes by, and revelation comes by relationship.
Right.
David had a relationship with God. He said, the book of Psalms, I'm thinking about doing a 90-day challenge, going through the book of Psalms, because in 90 days you can kind of go through all of Psalms, right? And I'm thinking about doing that, but Psalms is powerful in life changing. You talk about
Yes.
you want to tear down some strongholds, breakthrough.
powerful.
You talk about financial breakthrough. Like your financial blessings is in the book of Psalms. Your warfare is in the book of Psalms. Your healing is in the book of Psalms. Your family coming together and having unity in the book. Everything you can imagine, and your business flourishing in the book of Psalms. God ideas for your business. Look at me, I'm preaching. Sorry.
I know I love our little Bible study time on the couch. But we get some Bible study every time.
All of that is in the book of, no, it really, it's just somebody co-sign, because it is in the book of Psalms. You can pray through the book, you can pray through Psalms and change your entire life. Well, so David, that's him and his relationship with God, and he's lamenting, he's praising, he's thanking God, he's sad, he angry. It's a lot of things he's going through. He's going through all those emotions, you know, and praying through that. I had a revelation last night. I was listening to the word, and I had a revelation of what the Bible is for us and what that looks like, and like dealing with life. And those are like concepts. If you were to pick up a book or some kind of book that you want to read to change your life, and they give you concepts, right? So I know that in this day and age, in our culture, we want to believe, if it sounds fictional and I don't believe it. And so you rather turn to some idolatrous nature, you know, but God is saying, I've given it to you here, and you believe in that, and that will change your life. It is the foundation. And so for me, my balance now is coming from I'm now having to say, now, Lord, I got to go write this paper. Because I'll rather go read, I'd rather go pray, I'd rather do that now. And so I have to make myself do the other things. So I start out with my word and my worship, and some days it's just worship. Some days it is. I wrote a post about that. In the beginning of that, my bloodiest battles were won in worship.
Yeah.
It was like some of my bloodiest battles was like won on my knees in worship, where I didn't say nothing. I was just in worship.
Right.
And that's what for soul therapy, it is not me saying, oh, you just took the music. I know exactly what you were saying. It was strategic that worship was like that. That's why we had a concert in the intensive.
Right.
That wasn't just a transitional thing we did. That was a concert. And that concert was for us, pull back the curtains for us. That's what Devarius did.
Right.
I said, pull it back. Let us go. Create a moment for us that is tangible, that we can walk away with. So that's a serious thing that you're saying there. And that meant that in the intensive, it happened the way that the Lord showed me, because there are some times where it will be your worship that will win the battle. There were some times where it will be the word that will win the battle. And there were some times where it will be your wisdom that will win the battle. So mind mapping helped you. Worship helped you. The word helped you. And that's how I found my way back to God. And that's what the intensive is. And it's not a plug. Somebody can never come to that and use those three, never come to soul therapy, but use those three methods of sometimes, you know, and the proof is in the word, where the battle was fought at Jericho. That wasn't the word. It was their praise and the worship where they walked around. And they won that battle. There were some times where David was in his worship with God, that God gave him a strategic plan to go fight and win his battles. And so my balance is coming from understanding what God is saying about my life in this season, and I'm so dependent on it because it's uncharted territory for me. And then not only that, now people are dependent on it. You know, people, I don't want to play games with what God has given me. I want to be a good steward over it. I don't want to flounder it. I don't want to take it for granted that God has trusted me to do this. And he's given us resources to do it, because I had none when I walked into this. I didn't know how this was going to happen.
That's the beauty of it.
And God just said, oh, this is how it's going to happen. You're going to do it this way and this way. And he sent people to bless it. And, you know, let me tell you this. there was a sponsor that came up that said, you know what, I believe that more people want to come that they can't come. And so they paid for 10 people to come. So if y'all know somebody, see, you know, if you know somebody, let us know so that we can get their names on it, because that'll be gone. But even then, God is speaking to me about this not even being something that you pay for. I don't know if that'll be in 24, but so that people can get that just come. Because believe it or not, and I don't want to turn this is about our lives, but I think I saw your post the other day.
Which one?
That I'm gonna call her Prophetess. I don't know if she go by it.
Siobhan.
That Siobhan prayed over you, and I read your comment. You know how we read it. We study. Listen, we are each other's sparring partners, and we talk through things. And if I can share this, because I haven't even talked to you about it, but one of the comments somebody said in there. I wish I had my phone to pull it up, because I want to be very clear on it, because sometimes people, you know that song, but what they don't know is when you get behind closed doors, okay, it's the God in me. That was like one of your comments that somebody said, and somebody said, oh my God, either I have mistaken her godliness for being stuck up. And someone chimed in, and they had a whole conversation.
Really?
Other people chimed in and was like, me too. And it just, they had like this aha moment, you know, about like, I thought she was a standoffish. I'm finna make this up. They didn't use the word mean girl, but you know that thing that we do with our sisters, our black sisters, we thinking, oh, she thinks she all that. But that's what Mary was saying. What you don't know is when she gets behind closed doors, she's winning battles on her knees. That's what they said in your comment.
Really? I don't know how I missed it.
I don't know how I saw it.
I suck when it comes to going back reading comments.
I don't know. I read that, and they were up top. They may not even be up top now, because you may have cycled. I'd probably have to find it, but it was up top when I saw it, and that caught my eye. I read it, and I thought, you know, I'm saying that to say I don't want to turn this into that, but this is the foundation of who we are. And I think sometimes people miss that, where you may think that this person is one way, and you find out that their foundation is totally different. You may think that, oh, you know, she wouldn't sit at my table, but the table that I sit at, you're welcome. Or you don't think that I live by godly principles, or we would even have anything in common, but you admire that person. And then you just grow to hate them because you feel like they wouldn't like you or what have you because of, or maybe they just blessed. But the truth of the matter is your bloodiest battles were won on your knees. And I think that they saw a point of connectivity with you by seeing her lay hands on you. Because you had an overlay of music, so you didn't hear what she prophesied. You just saw that you submitted to it. And that's, people mistook it of, everything may come easy, something always, you know, I don't know.
Right.
But who knows why somebody will just choose to wake up and look at somebody and hate them.
And it's so funny that you would say that, because I think it was, what day did I post that?
I don't remember the date. I may not have even saw the day you posted
But
it.
that same day, or either the next day, I actually recorded myself saying, have you ever found yourself disliking somebody based on what you may see or what you may have heard from someone else? And I never posted it. I never posted it. I just was like, I ain't gonna post this. I don't want people to be thinking, oh, who's she attacking? Nobody. I just felt it, because sometimes you will develop an opinion on somebody before you even get to know them, just because of what
Your success become a trigger to their trauma.
That's it.
So it's like, I am a trigger. I now am a trigger to you. What's happening for me. But the thing about it is, it may not be your time, or you may not be doing the proper work. And what this podcast, what we're trying to do, what soul therapy is pulling back a curtain to show you that there's been some real work here. Like when you said what you said on stage, like the response that we got, the response that I got from soul therapy of people connecting with you after that. I mean, like connecting with you. Some of it, you don't have to come to soul therapy to find out. Oh man, I was like, oh my God. But people was able to connect because then it makes you look human. It makes you look vulnerable.
And that's what most
Well,
people
something
don't
else
get.
that,
They don't get that.
remember how last week when you did the podcast with me, the
Yes.
Behind Her Smile,
Uh-huh.
did you ever read those comments that people were saying on that particular post?
No, it's been so hard to go back and look at it.
I've been reading all of them, and everybody really connects with you. Remember, I asked you that question, why do you think you're so relatable? Do you remember what you said? You basically said, because I feel like I feel that people connect to me because I am transparent. And on that particular podcast, at Soul Therapy Intensive, just at this point in your life, you have chosen to be transparent and to tell people about your journey and about your story. And I think that's why people are connecting with you. I think that's why you have gained that following, or people are now thinking, okay, she's not just Rachel Mathews, the hairstylist. She really is Rachel Mathews, and she's a woman to be held.
That's right.
So I think take the time to go read those comments.
Okay, I
Because
will.
people have really gravitated towards you. They really do love and adore you for your story because you've shared it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I sure will.
You're coming into your own in a sense, you know?
I am.
You are.
I am.
You really are. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I see it.
Thank y'all.
I do.
I think the world sees it.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
And my encouragement is that we all can get you finna cry.
No, I'm not gonna cry.
But I'm gonna cry with you today. Okay?
You
I'm
just
just
wanna
gonna lay
cry.
down.
You just wanna cry.
I was fine.
Can we tell them what we do on Mondays?
Oh, absolutely.
Y'all tell them.
You go for
She's so funny.
Y'all tell them.
It all stemmed from you
Did it?
and your word in Atlanta.
Really?
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so listen. So in Atlanta, during my speaking engagement, we were all out to dinner. And we were with April's auntie.
Auntie Pie.
Auntie Pie. I call her Auntie Pie, but her name is really Bernita Crossland.
Bernita
What's the name of the church?
Oh,
she gonna kill you.
Life International.
What is it?
Restore Life
Restore Life International in Atlanta.
Yes.
She actually said something over me. She prophesied something over me. I was scared to do the speaking engagement because I didn't know that, I didn't know what was going to happen. It was kind of like a stepping out for me, kind of like Peter stepping out of the boat. And so basically what she said to me, she said, you know, put on these shoes. They were her shoes. She said, what size shoe do you wear? I said, an 8.5. She said, I wear a 10, put on these shoes. I put on these shoes and she said, you know, get up and walk around the table. I walk around this table and I sat back down. She's like, well, how did that feel? I'm like, well, it felt weird. I was, you know, holding on to the chairs, what have you. And it just kind of felt, you know, I was unsure of myself. And she said, that's because God is now positioning you in a different space. He's now making you walk into a different territory. And you're going to need something different for this journey than you needed for the last journey. That took us out.
All the way.
At the table in a steak restaurant in Atlanta.
We
And then
always
she,
have a
and then she
care
was
where we
talking
are.
about your heart. She said ain't nothing wrong with you.
Yeah. So I've been wearing this heart monitor.
She had been to the
cardiologist. Had
Using up that good
test.
using up that good insurance to good. But you know, that shows how sometimes we go get a physical for something that's spiritual.
Right.
She was making her own self sick.
I mean,
She said ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with your heart.
been doing it. And it's like, for what? But sometimes you can't be told that. You know, you have to go and experience it, or somebody to have to shake you into, you know, what are you doing? And then you may shy away from where the truth may come from. You know, I don't want to, because you said that you and our other dear friend said that at Soul Therapy, I was running. You can run. Somebody gonna find you, because the word is sharper than a double-edged sword.
That's
It's not me.
Sister, I was running from you. I saw you coming. I saw you
You
laying
know what,
hands.
the
I
way
was
that,
like,
the way that the Lord works is when you open to it, He's there. He's there. He's there.
Yeah.
It's a constant flow. And when you check into it,
I got caught.
if you closed off,
I wasn't closed off. I was afraid.
No. It's not about being closed off in a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Don't let me say it that way.
Okay.
It's about I understood what that is, and I believe in my training. That's where God has blessed me, and I'm very sensitive to people. God does not mean to leave us for dead.
Yeah.
I don't care what spiritual gift I have, of prophecy, of laying on hands,
You were
or
laying
wherever
hands
the
and people were
words.
falling out.
That was the power of the Holy Spirit, and
Right.
I thank God. But you know why I believe He trusts me? Because I care about His people.
Yes.
And so if you didn't feel comfortable in that setting, it didn't mean that He wasn't going to catch you in another. Some plant,
That's right.
some water. God gives the increase. It wasn't for me to do that. But it wasn't that I didn't see you, and it wasn't that I didn't know. And it's not even for, the bottom line is, do you know the weight that you carry? Do you know it now? Do you understand what God is trying to do in your life? Will you tell Him yes now? Was it so bad once you got up there?
No.
You know? And so that's what counts. That's all that matters. Did you get it? When you walked around in Auntie Pie's shoes, did you get it? Like, did you really understand?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's easy to look at other women and say, "Hun, I see this on you and you're doing so great." But do you see that in yourself? Ish.
I think
Can you see yourself being reverenced like that? And that God, I know it's uncomfortable, but it is who you are, and it's who God called you to be. And at some point, you'll have to come from behind the curtain into the forefront to do what you know you've been called to do. Some people are behind the scene, you know? But I think that has to do with control. And that's such a negative connotation that comes with that, where at least I have control over this. At least I can control how this will happen. But crazy faith, you don't have control over. You just have to go with it. And I wasn't talking about Peter in the boat then. I was talking about when he met Jesus. But let's just say he already knows him. And he see him when Jesus said, "Go on and I'm going to catch up with you." That's the scripture you're talking about. And Peter said, "If it's you, then bid me to come. Let me come out there with you." The fact that he thought he could ask. That is it even, I see you doing it. But because I asked, let me know that I could do it too. Do you see yourself walking on water? Because he had to see himself first. Do you see yourself getting out there on the boat? Because we all talk about him sinking once he got out there. But honestly, there were other people on that boat that didn't get out, didn't even ask Jesus. Crazy faith is asking. That's what's crazy. So now you ask, he said, "Come." You step out, and you out there. Now the thing about it is, you knew that the wind and the waves was blowing. They was blowing before you asked. So in other words, life was already happening. Your kids was grown. Some of them needed you. Your parents were where they were. All of that was going on when you asked Jesus to do this. So that didn't just start. Life didn't just happen to you once you got out there. It was already going on, and you had the nerve to ask, "Can I come?" So now you get out there and you feeling emotions that you did not feel when you were on the boat before you asked. And I think that's where I was coming in to help you understand what those emotions are and how to harness them and how to deal with them. And I know for a fact that's what Auntie Pie, without me even being there, was trying to get you to understand, because our emotions can disqualify us from something or count us out. Like you walking on the boat, now I'm out on the water, now I'm anxious. Now I'm gonna look at the wind and the waves. Versus I still am in the frame of mind and I'm going to harness my fear and just make it and have it to where I'm strong. I watch a lot of Kobe Bryant. He was known for his mental toughness. I watch a lot of his
YouTube videos
of him speaking, because he did a lot of speaking in his retirement. You should look at that. Tim Glover, take it in, because that mental toughness, that sassiness, as for a woman, like they called it cockiness for a man, but for a woman, that sassiness, that talk your stuff, you know, that you know, you are who you are. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Yes, me out here. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm out here. Sometimes you do have to kind of build yourself. That's what up on
Hype
your
yourself
most
up.
holiest faith. Like, let me get, oh yeah, it's me. And you come up against me and see what happened. Yeah, I'm gonna go get these stones. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Like, it's like you have to talk yourself through it and like get yourself hyped, because I'm out here on this water and my emotions can get away from me. But I'm going to have to do, what am I gonna do in that meantime? And I think that's what I spend a lot of time in the Word doing, is getting myself ready for the game when I'm on the sidelines. And trying to get myself emotionally ready for what it would feel like, you know, instead of dealing with rejection based on, I do a simulation now, you know, or like what it would feel like to be around a lot of women and everybody got it going on. All your friends baddies. So now what? Do you disqualify yourself, or are you gonna say, you know what, I am too?
I am too. I'm all.
And I have something to offer, and they gonna hear me today. You know, I'm saying that may not be but that doesn't mean, like, even where you guys are right now, I can't do everything y'all doing. For a lot of reasons. If I'm gonna see this through where I am, I can't go where y'all go. Half the time y'all gone places I don't even, you know, and that used to be my norm. We used to go on brunch, I can't do that. You know, the other day, we went to a celebration. I came an hour late, just order me a drink. I'm on my way, you know, and I don't have the time to do that, but I have to talk myself through mentally of what my emotions are doing, and I have to call it. But Paul said that in the Word. I'm not going. I'm ministering to you, and then I disqualify myself. Like, I lose the race.
That's why that mind mapping was so good, because we will. You done hyped yourself up, and then over here you go over here and talk yourself out of it.
Well,
I really ain't good enough. I don't know if I'm gonna be. I ain't gonna speak like her, or I ain't gonna sound like. So you done already talk yourself down. So yeah, get back in that mind mapping.
You're right.
You know what? I talked with April Holdis, who we're talking about, the corporate my leader, over 40 years experience. I do, you know, she is the expert at this, and we have been privy to even just have her around us. But she kind of gave me an overview of what we will experience April 1st.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm not. All that them cute dresses and heels I had on, I'm going low to the ground. I'm flat footed. I'm flat footing it.
Never.
What you talking about? Oh no, I'm gonna be cute now. I'm gonna sashay through there, but it's just not gonna be high.
It's gonna be flat.
I want to stand there. I want to hear it. I want to take my notes. I want to apply this stuff. Yeah. But she did. She gave me an overview of what it would look like, because this one, April 1st, is about the journey. It's about the journey. It's about what happened when we walked out of there on January 7th, and that time in between, and what happened. What do you do with those emotions, and how do you harness them?
Yeah.
And how do you go from a sideliner to a champion?
Ooh,
That's a good book.
that's good.
That's gonna be
Like, honestly,
Yeah.
can't somebody honestly change their lives where they can become a champion even at a later date?
Sure.
absolutely.
Put me in the game,
Chloe
coach.
Put me
Chanel.
in the game, coach.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know we hear that.
Yeah.
I know we hear it, but honestly, like, can you do? We know that because we hear a lot of people. But honestly, like, if you really put your name in it, like, can I really do this? Can soul therapy become a household name? Can Marci Lynn Jackson get up and go do these things? You know, do I have the stamina? Do I have the wherewithal? You know, to do these things? But I can say that versus learning tools to do it, because that's what you miss. That's what we miss. It's okay, so then what are the tools? And I think that's what, like, a Kobe Bryant or LeBron James, like, you got to give those people their props. And that's why they had an expiration date, a retirement date, because they, like, you can't operate at a level 100 every day for the rest of your life. There has to be, I gotta come off of that.
Yeah.
I have to come off of that, but
Oh, this good.
we had a good talk.
This good.
What I want everybody to take away from our discussion here was Soul Therapy Intensive Conference was, of course, my platform, but it wasn't just my platform that God called me to. It was a platform that I was to share. with some extraordinary people that are doing extraordinary things to help people do extraordinary things in their lives, that who would be willing to pull back the curtains and allow people to see in of how they do things, because we have a tendency to reduce people down to our failures, you know, and play by our cards. And our cards, we may not have won a lot. However, so then I say, if I couldn't do it, then no, she's lying. She couldn't do it, or she's not relatable, or she's not relevant, you know, or, you know, she may be funny here, but is it going to translate well here? And these are all the things that we've said about things that are challenging to us. Me feeling like, okay, you know, are they going to latch on, Lord? Because this isn't something that was in the making over the last 3 years for me. It's been my entire life. I was called to ministry at 21. At 21 years old, you know, and so I'm walking into what was told to me at 21. I'm 47. You know, and I don't know why God, I take that back. He did tell me here recently, you know, maturity had to come with that, and how I saw things. And he blessed me at an early age to do some exemplary things. And I had a tendency to make those things, I knew that God did it, but I had a tendency to take ownership of some of those things too. Pride. You know, and so I pray that people can continue to look at this podcast, us women, and see themselves here, and see how you can do things in your life. You may not be there now, but that doesn't mean that that you can't do it, or you won't ever be there. As you can see, all of us are doing some extraordinary things, different places in our lives. I think that in 2023, this podcast is going to kind of do a turnover from where we were last year when we first started. I think you're gonna hear some extraordinary things here, and I'm praying that you guys tune in to hear. You know, we didn't get to hear, you know, what Rachel have going on with her companies in April, but it's coming. And so,
Before we get out, sister, tell them how they can get tickets.
oh my goodness! So you can go to my Instagram, Marci Lynn Jackson. Instagram, you can go to soultherapyint.com. That's soultherapyint.com and get tickets. You could go to Eventbrite, Soul Therapy INT, and get tickets. And if you are one of those, if you hear this, and you are one of those, and April 1st haven't passed, or July 7th haven't passed, or October has not passed, and you want one of those free tickets to claim, please DM me, or reach out to us through YouTube or what have you, anywhere, and we'll find you. We do listen. As you can see, read comments. We read comments. Just not Rachel. Oh, but yeah, we would love to have you at Soul Therapy. Come on, let it change your life.
Yes.
Get some enrichment. Do something different so you can get something different.
That's right.
Don't be the same and then turn around and hate people who are trying to evolve.
Yes,
don't
Lord.
do that. Don't become a hater, because it can do that. Bitterness can set in because you had an opportunity to do something different and you didn't do anything with it. It's like those talents. You hid yours and you buried it because you was afraid that you couldn't do something different, but you can. You can do something different. Let this be the year that you do.
That's
Thank
right.
you for joining us.